Huntington Beach, California, weighing in at 282 pounds, the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe!
Not the place. What do you think I was going to call this one? Arguably the most important match in Beyond Wrestling history. We got part 3 of the Killer G, Samoa Joe, going up against Chris Dickinson, being joined at this time by Chris Hero, JT Dunn, Death by Elbow. Congratulations on your victory earlier tonight against Team Tremendous.
Thank you for that introduction, man. I think we're just, both JT and I, we're just in awe right now. What a presence Samoa Joe has. I know how bad he is in the ring, but man, the way he carries himself is immaculate.
It's absolutely something, it's a spectacle to watch right now. To see Samoa Joe here live in Providence, Rhode Island at FET Music and for Beyond Wrestling.
Everything he did to change professional wrestling a decade ago, everything that he does to continue to change professional wrestling for today. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you got Chris Dickinson, who is the most selfish human being I have ever met in my entire life.
So this is part 3 of the Killer G, is that right?
Yeah, they wrestled 2 nights ago at House of Glory. Huge capacity crowd. Congratulations to them. They also competed last night, just about 20 minutes from here, for XWA. And, Samoa Joe has picked up victories in both of this match. This isn't billed as a best 2 out of 3 series. They're going to wrestle all 3 nights, no matter the outcome.
Would you say that the last 2 were perhaps away games for Dickinson, and this is a home game?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that there's so much writing on the line in this match, not only with, both the previous Team Pazuzu matches. I mean, Jaka came up short against Nick Gage, EYFBO coming up short against the Hit Squad, and now not only is Dickinson representing himself, but he's representing Team Pazuzu, who's having a bit of a rough day.
Yeah, he's got to step up and provide for the rest of Team Pazuzu and show that if they can't get the job done, he can come out here at home and represent for Team Pazuzu the best way possible.
Of course, what you're going to look at is the win and the loss, but that doesn't really tell the whole story. It's how you win or how you lose, and he came very close both those nights to beating Samoa Joe.
Yeah, but I think that we're going to see an added level of desperation out of Dickinson tonight. I don't think that he wants to walk away, basically getting swept, even by arguably the hottest pro wrestler on the scene today. I mean, you knew this one was going to be physical, but these two are just not letting up on each other.
Woo, I know he felt that.
Watch out, Chris.
Oh, lightning quick.
Couldn't get his hands up in time to protect himself, and now he finds himself on his back. Listen to this crowd.
I think the strategy you got to have when you're in the ring with Samoa Joe is you just have to cover your head at all costs. You got to take some body shots because he's coming for that knockout. He's coming to kick you in the head. He's coming to elbow you in the head. He's going to try to drop you on your head with the muscle buster.
Now, I got a question for both of you guys. I'm going to start with you, Chris, since you've both been in the ring with him. When you first encountered Samoa Joe many moons ago, I mean, what was it about Samoa Joe? I mean, this guy set the entire scene on fire. And how did you have to prepare?
Oh, man, I wrestled Joe in 2003 in Highland, Indiana for IWA Mid-South in one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever been a part of. And it just, his unique combination of size, strength, speed, and like I said before, his presence, he moves around the ring. He owns it. He owns that ring.
And now just a couple weeks ago, JT Dunn, you had the opportunity to also compete against Samoa Joe. What was that like?
It was something that I never really expected because I literally had a half hour to prepare for my match with Samoa Joe. And obviously anybody who's a wrestling fan knows who Samoa Joe is and what he's capable of. And I can absolutely say that I was intimidated being in the ring with somebody like him. I've been in the ring with Dickinson, and he's one of the toughest guys I've ever had to get in there and throw down with. But Samoa Joe just hits you like you've never been hit before. He's trying to get in and get out as fast as possible. And I don't know if Dickinson's going to be able to withstand the assault tonight, but Dickinson looks great. He looks great.
Well, you said that you had only 30 minutes to prepare for Samoa Joe. Dickinson has had 3 days to not only learn, but also adjust his strategy. Really, it's all riding on tonight's match.
And hopefully he's had some ice packs in the meantime. Hope he's given himself some rest and recovery, because wrestling Joe once is enough toll on your body, let alone 3 days in a row.
Joe's got those heavy hands. You can hear the thud on the chest of Dickinson.
Oh.
You want to talk about agility, though? Dickinson is no slouch either. Caught him right down with that clothesline.
Oh, feeling himself a little bit.
Dickinson's going to start. Once he gets control of this match, and he's here and fed, and there are people who actually here support Team Pazuzu, get behind Dickinson, that's all he needs. That's gonna get those veins pumped up a little bit more, and he's going to try to drop Joe on his head as many times as he possibly can.
Dickinson's gone for quick pins several times already. He hasn't been able to get Joe for more than a 1 count.
From House of Glory, I was there at House of Glory and the XWA to watch both of these first matches, and I was very surprised with the way Dickinson handled losing.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Both times by Muscle Buster, but right now he seems to be making a little bit of a mistake. He seems to be toying with Joe.
Well, like you said, each match getting closer and closer to finally defeating Samoa Joe. Is tonight going to be the night, as he's going to continue to wear down Samoa Joe by just stretching his back.
Nah, see, I don't really like this strategy right here. He's trying to overpower Joe. That's not too smart. You got to get him winded. You got to get it so he can't breathe. He has unbelievable conditioning in the ring, and you got to limit that.
Well, you got to think, though, Dickinson's usually the larger of the competitors when he's in the match. You know, that's part of adjusting his strategy. But you know, no matter how big you are,
oh, not even phasing him.
Caught the leg and go with the dragon screw. He did not land on that knee in a good way at all.
And the way his ankle was torqued too, also. Wow.
All of his weight crashing down as he was twisted, and it looks like Dickinson has finally found the chink in the armor that he's going to exploit here tonight.
Blood in the water now, the Shoji's got to attack. He's in complete control right now. If he takes out that wheel, that slows down Samoa Joe, and Dickinson has him on the ground right where he needs him to ground and pound, and to show everybody he's a filthy father. Here we go. Putting all that weight, and like you said, Dickinson is a big guy. He's usually the bigger guy in all of the contests. That's a lot of weight coming down on Joe's knee on an awkward angle. That's the longest he's had Joe on the ground this entire contest.
Got that toe and ankle locked in. Joe has a very low center of gravity. He relies on those thick thighs, those strong legs to kind of, that's where he gets his power from. Very smart move by Dickinson to try to take that away.
You got this, brother. Come on, brother.
It looks like Dickinson, though, he's having some difficulty even applying this holds just due to the sheer size of Samoa Joe. Perhaps I spoke too soon.
Trailer hitch applied. Little poor ring positioning, I'll say, but you know, you get what you can get, right?
I could probably count on one hand the number of times that Joe has quit in his entire career.
I was going to say, Chris, you believe Joe is the type of competitor so close to the ropes to reach for the ropes, or is he going to fight through? If he reached for the ropes, Dickinson might have done enough damage to really alter Joe's plan of fighting back constantly.
I mean, I think Joe's similar to myself. We like to use the ropes as a last possible resort. We like to think of, I like to have 3 or 4 ways to get out of something before I try to think of using the ropes.
Well, you know, if these two get in a kicking contest once again, Dickinson has immediately neutralized it, because if Joe's going to be throwing those kicks, either the leg that he's going to be throwing the kicks with is going to be weakened, or he's going to have a harder time pivoting to put all of his body's weight behind it. But that doesn't stop him from throwing those strikes with his hands.
Notice he utilizes both hands. Oh! He likes to come back with a flying boot. He's going to follow it up with a senton. Vintage Samoa Joe.
Crushed him. Is that going to be enough? Just a second away.
That could have been it with the size of Samoa Joe laying right on Dickinson after he
especially after 3 days. 3 days.
That body weight has to feel like a ton.
But you know what? Chris Dickinson. Chris Dickinson's a little bit younger, and I got to think perhaps even a little bit more resilient because he doesn't have as much wear and tear. He doesn't have as much mileage on him.
And I will say, I think he's hungrier than Joe too, man. Joe's taste of victory the last two nights.
I disagree with you 100%. I disagree with you 100%. I think that Joe is the hungriest he's ever been in wrestling, especially because there's so much riding on the line, not only for himself personally, but what he's doing to change professional wrestling. If Dickinson comes in here tonight and beats Samoa Joe, that immediately makes him one of the most important people of all of professional wrestling. One of the guys that you absolutely have to keep an eye on, no matter what situation, what promotion, what match. Oh!
That's it. Shoulders down. He's able to turn.
STF!
There's the brain of Samoa Joe, able to torque. Now he's going to put the pressure on Dickinson's knee. And now, like you said earlier, those kicks are going to become interesting on Dickinson's side now.
So smart with a hold like this, not only doing damage to the leg, but pulling back on the head, doing damage to the neck. If he can get his hands around the nose, making it hard for Dickinson to breathe. Plus, with the weight difference, Dickinson has to carry all of Joe's weight to the ropes.
Switching to a crossface.
Putting the hands over his forehead like that. Dickinson can't find ring placement. He can't find the ropes. Unless he turns it like he's doing now to the side, he won't be able to get out of it.
Well, you know, you see a lot of times guys have difficulty applying a hold and they'll give up on it. And that allows your opponent a few seconds to cover. Instead, Joe continuing to transition as he applies more and more pressure to different parts of Dickinson's body, effectively wearing him down from head to toe.
And there's a reason they call him the submission machine. He just sequenced from hold to hold to hold flawlessly.
It's hard, though, because Dickinson wants to bring the striking game to Joe. Joe might have him beat. Dickinson wants to bring the ground game to Joe. Joe might have him beat. I really don't know if Dickinson can outpower him. It's just, he's fighting an uphill battle, and honestly, I think he might have bit off more than he could chew with all 3 nights, Samoa Joe all 3 nights in a row.
Oh, Joji Gatame. Joji Gatame, he doesn't quite have it hooked in. There's a little daylight.
Dickinson fighting Joe, taking off. Right back.
Oh! He's not covering that opposite shoulder. He's leaning back on him and hooking the near leg as opposed to smothering his upper body, smothering his face.
Joe is so broad, though. How can you possibly cover his entire body with yours to pin him down?
You gotta stack him up. You gotta use his weight against him.
Dickinson's best bet, I think, is he's gonna try and target the head. Everything he's done up to this point, you know, it's gonna make Joe's offense just a little bit weaker. He's not gonna be hitting it with as much, as much oomph behind it because he doesn't have as much energy. But I think Dickinson's gotta go to the head. Oh my God! The perspiration flying off the chest. Dickinson on spaghetti legs. He's got Joe up. Oh! Impact into the pin. He couldn't find his positioning. And that extra second cost him.
Much better pin attempt, though.
Landed perfectly flat on that, he would have had immediate coverage with the shoulders hooked and the leg locked. That little spin to get better coverage, like you're saying, trying to cover all of Joe's surfers, just caught it. It costed him that extra second.
Well, I mean, easier said than done, obviously. But now, you know, if you're the Dirty Daddy, you get a couple of tricks that old Tricky Dicky can rely on. Perhaps a Brain Eater, but do you think that he can get Samoa Joe up for the Pazuzu Bomb?
I think he's capable of getting him up there, but he's got to execute quickly because Joe is going to have a counter for it. I haven't seen Dickinson able to actually hold him in the Pazuzu Bomb in the first 2 matches, but right now Joe's struggling.
Uh-oh, that's the position where Joe can hit the Muscle Buster.
He needs to move and move fast.
He's got him hooked in position. He's got him up on his shoulders. The legs are trapped, and Dickinson with the sunset flip. What a counter. Dickinson had him scouted, and instead of going for the pin, knew he couldn't keep him down.
Right back to that trailer head.
And to your credit, Hero, look at the position in the ring
Dead
right now.
center.
Dickinson.
Dead center.
I think Dickinson's got to be in the center of the ring right here at Fet Music in Providence, Rhode Island.
And you got to think back to all the offense that Joe was just employing. He was using his legs. He was weakening his own made to the ropes.
And that's where the size of Samoa Joe plays a very important role. He can reach the ropes from halfway across the ring.
Dickinson better be careful he doesn't get disqualified either with so much on the line here tonight.
It's cool. He needs to keep his composure. Dickinson is a phenomenal athlete when he's not his own worst enemy in his head.
Oh yeah, Dickinson, keep his cool. Great advice. Try telling him for the last 6 years and see where that's gotten him.
He's got him here 3 nights in a row with Samoa Joe, so he's doing pretty good for himself.
He looks a bit hesitant right now. I think I'm not sure what he has in store from game plan wise.
Well, what's next? He's really attacked the leg of Joe, and Joe's been able to get to the ropes. He's set up for the Pazuzu bomb, and Joe's been able to find a counter.
Yeah.
Do you think Dickinson's realized that he's not going to be able to get Joe to submit, and now he has to change his strategy once again?
Absolutely do. I think it's
right on top of that kneecap.
He's going to take that out where Joe's going to have to forfeit this match because he's incapable, or he can't risk an injury going forward.
Well, that's another point to consider. I mean, imagine if Chris Dickinson puts Samoa Joe on the shelf.
You're gonna see another dragon screw.
Oh my God! Cut him right on the top of his crown.
Joji got him made!
Dickinson fighting any way he possibly can.
Oh!
Oh my God! Oh, right in the jaw.
He knocked him out. He knocked him out. He can't get him though. He's spent.
He's out right now. I think Samoa Joe has just been knocked out by Chris Dickinson.
Neither of them know where they are in the ring right now.
Well, the fans are going to let him know right now. They're right here at Beyond Wrestling.
That's what it's about here at Beyond Wrestling. And just as it says, it's after wrestling. It's when you get to that spot in your match, you don't know where you are.
What do you think of this strategy? Dickinson's going all the way across the ring. Can Dickinson connect from this far away?
Oh, yes, he can.
Oh, driving Joe all the way in the corner.
A little unnecessary, in my opinion. ST Joe.
Have a seat. Muscle buster time. Dickinson had a counter before. This is where the fight in Dickinson needs to come alive.
Oh!
Dropped him on his head. One.
I've never fucking seen that.
Oh!
Elbows to the point of the jaw. Misses with the back fist. Dickinson brings him to the corner.
Rolling.
On a roll. 1, 2, into the clutch. He's got him trapped. Sending the ring. Leg locked.
He's not moving his legs.
Dickinson,
I think he's out.
He's struggling. He's struggling for breath. He's going to sleep. He's going to sleep.
He's out.
He's out. Chris Dickinson, 0-3 against Samoa Joe, twice by the Muscle Buster, and tonight he fought until he literally couldn't breathe.
Submission machine, Samoa Joe!
Chris Dickinson 0-3. Team Pazuzu 0-3. You're going to wonder if the scene is going to start changing here in Beyond Wrestling. I'll tell you right now, there's one guy right on his feet, and he is changing the entire scene of professional wrestling, whether these fans respect it or they want to give him shit for it. This guy is a pioneer. Even Beyond Wrestling getting to this point. Independent wrestling getting to this point. Professional wrestling getting to this point.
What Eddie Edwards versus Biff Busick was for Beyond Wrestling before, Samoa Joe versus Chris Dickinson has just hit that echelon. And this crowd, despite the few that have ignorance, are loving Samoa Joe and Beyond Wrestling and what this weekend meant for professional wrestling.
Oh, did you see that? I think that finally, even in defeat, perhaps, Chris Dickinson earned Samoa Joe's respect.
Chris said before, it's not about what you do to win and lose, it's how you win and lose.
And you know, that's true. We've seen the depth that Dickinson is willing to stoop in order to pick up the victory, and I'll give him credit, it never got to that point here today.
And if he's able to get out of this ring, get in the locker room, get in his car, and head back to New York fucking City, just like this, it'll be incredible. It seems as if Chris Dickinson has been humbled